Hi, Barbara Wally here, orthopedic and sports certified physical therapist here to talk to you about stress. If you've seen a lot of my videos, you'll know I talk a lot about stress and its effect on the body. Not that I know anything about it. That's a joke. But I'd like to talk about exactly how stress can affect your body. Just a few pointers about stress. First off, when you have a lot of chronic stress or even immediate stress, you're going to have something called norepinephrine. It's going to be released into your system that causes your fight or flight reaction. You know, the stories you hear about where people suddenly can lift a car because their child is underneath it. That epinephrine can actually cause you to have, superhuman strength. We need that. We need the ability to be able to run away from a threat or to be able to fight if we need to protect our bodies. But there's another hormone process called cortisol. That's more of our long-term stress hormone. It's a really important process because back when we were going through evolutionary processes and our body was under a lot of chronic stress, the body knew, okay, we need to preserve, we need to hold on. So a lot of times cortisol will have us gain weight. That's one of the processes. We'll also have a tendency to have more issues with diabetes. But that long-term cortisol, and you've got to think, if you're not just undergoing weeks of stress, but months, maybe years of chronic stress, cortisol high levels can cause a lot of problems throughout your entire system. But not just to mention the internal processes of what's going on in our body with stress, but also how you hold your body in space. I cannot tell you how many of my patients and myself tend to hold ourselves like this when we're under a lot of stress. And everybody's different. I've had patients that hold a lot of tension in their low back. They tend to hold a lot of tension in those low back muscles. It can crop up however you are built, but wherever you hold that stress, you just got to imagine you're holding those muscles like this all day long, and they're going to fatigue, and you're going to feel a lot of burning tightness sensation of pain. So trying to make sure when you notice you're under a lot of stress, relax. It's amazing. If you take 1 second, my neck hurts. What am I doing? I'm doing this. Relax yourself. It goes a long way, but it takes a lot of repetition and consistency to get your brain to shut off those muscles. But to pay attention to how you're holding yourself before you fall asleep. And that's a whole other part of stress. Stress can affect our sleep patterns, and it can reduce the amount of time that we stay asleep and get into the deep patterns of sleep, especially if you notice you're losing your ability to dream. You're under a lot of significant stress. You're not getting that deep, restful sleep that we need to repair our tissues and keep us healthy. But as we all know, stress can affect how we eat. Whenever we're under a lot of stress, we have a tendency to want to eat fattier foods and eat sugary foods because our body wants us to reserve and preserve and to hold on to nutrients it's going to need to survive, because the body's way smarter than we are. It knows how to keep us alive, especially under periods of stress. But I hope this helps just to understand processes and know that there's at least one thing you can do under stress. It's change the way that you're holding your body and get yourself to relax. And we could all eat better, and consider what we do eat, and try to override those patterns of give me all the fatty, sugary foods, and try to stick to a healthier diet, especially under periods of chronic stress. But I really hope this helps and that everybody has a great day. Thanks.